you look at it from that perspective, you'll find a convergence point, a point where two things come up as common denominators: hopes and aspirations. Out of the
Yes.
7 billion people in this world, irrespective of where we are by whatever parameters, we could be rich, poor, millionaire, billionaire, on the internet, below the poverty line, doesn't matter. But every single living human being will have hope.
Yes.
Hope is what keeps us going from day to day, time to time. And each one of us has aspirations, irrespective whether we are 7 years old, 10 years old, 30 years old, 50 years old, 90 years old. We are always hopeful and we are optimistic because our hope comes from our heart. Our heart is the one that is in sync with the universal energy, which always says tomorrow's better. Give it one more try. So pull this all back together. What COVID's done is COVID has made the world, and I look at the commercial world. I'm not a coach. I'm not a business mentor. I focus purely on commercials for a business. But today, when a business comes, a client comes to me and says, I want to grow by 27%, 30%. I said, thank you very much. You're talking to the wrong guy. You want to grow at a certain percentage, which we will have to figure out. I don't know if the percentage is right. I'm not looking at your Excel. I'm looking at your people, but we will work together for 16 weeks. We will build, operate, and I'll transfer the process to you. And then you see how sustainable it is. You look at your people, you build a community where your employees become your brand ambassadors / advocates. You don't pay $5 million to the next celebrity to talk about your brand because it does nothing. Nobody believes in it. I'm sorry. I'm a marketing guy. I'm saying it live. It's my own version from the data that I have. So when an employee talks, Lorraine sitting far away looks at Joy speaking on behalf of humanizing business and say, hey, he's working there. Hey, he's doing this work. He's writing the strategy and he's tweeting, today XYZ happened with HB. Hey, that makes sense. I want to have a word with him. Stage 2, intention of engagement happens. A conversation takes place. Stage 3, make that relationship stronger. Create that conversation to give value to Lorraine. You don't look at, hey, I want Lorraine to buy me, give me my $6,000 process fee, and boom, I'm gone. That's a transaction. You're going to run out of a breath, and you're not going to be able to get your company to scale because you're going to be constantly firefighting to get your numbers. On the other hand, you go back to the old Pareto principle. Look at 20% of your clients, grow those clients, nurture those clients, just like, ladies, pardon me, might be a wrong analogy. When you are pregnant, you nurture the baby for 9 months before the baby is born. And then you nurture your child as a parent for 20 years or 18 years before the child leaves the nest. The same thing today operates in business. You nurture your clients through your employees. Everything else are tools, technology, platforms, communication. Everything else is tools. And this is where leadership comes into play. After 32 years in corporate across industries, we are not going to become a communal leadership structure. That's still a little bit away. We're still top down. So how the leader engages, appreciates, recognizes, and to use my brother Sahib's words, how the leader cares, and he'll explain it when he talks about care as an acronym, becomes what you do as the number 2. And slowly, when you see somebody doing something, you repeat. Think back to the parental home model. Our children model us. There are a lot of literature available to say why a father figure is very important, why a mother figure is very important. I'm not going to get into the debate about those roles, but as employees look at their managers and their superiors, there is a behavior that happens during that 9 to 5, if I may say. Today, it's changed because we are working weird hours. We are working online. It makes the leadership that much more important to get in touch and say, like Nestle reached out and said, and I said, I love Nestle. And I said, I'd be happy to jump into this. It's the trust. It's the relationship that gets translated externally. So in jargon, in marketing, we'd say employee experience, becomes the customer experience. You don't have two parallel different programs with different touch points and different concocted stuff, which is not what you are. Be real. So 3 things come in here. When you humanize your business, you've got to talk. It's about your heart. You've got to be open about that conversation. So if you're uncomfortable about it, time to go and get some help to find out empathy and collaborative nature. I myself, I'm poor on empathy. It's taken me years to learn and have team members to help me understand the empathy factor in a team. And I'm being open about it. You know, my brother here, Saib, and I work together. His empathy quotient is way up there. I rely on him in our partnership. Together we work on it. So when a leader takes that approach, it creates a safe environment for the team. Once you're in a safe environment, to echo Brother Rishad, you can sit down calmly and say, this is going to be beneficial. You then identify the real value. The real value is not as a business in your product, your technology, your price, or your advertising or your distribution. The real value is in people. The real value is actually in the culture that you create, that your business and your brand represent, how it actually benefits the community. And here by community, I don't mean our day-to-day society, but I mean the business and the brand's community of employees and partners and vendors and customers. That's the world that the brand and the business of that brand is operating in. If each business, and that's my mission is to actually touch businesses, transform them gently to be human, to move away from an Excel spreadsheet, to approach it from the heart, to sit down and have conversations, literally have board meetings where people discuss how can our service, our product uplift our community. And then you bring in all the tech. You bring in who's your ideal customer? How do I get my sales dialogue going? How does the sales benefit? How do I forward sales? So let me give you an example from a supply chain client of mine based out of Dubai. New client, 3 years old, supply chain, very badly hit during COVID. In May, we sat down, and this is exactly the process we took it through. I said, can we just reach out to your current customers and ask them, how can we help? And you'd be surprised the end result of that was today, that supply chain customer has an online dashboard bringing other providers onto that dashboard as delivering logistics. His clients and other clients are just coming onto his service to sign on logistics providers to distribute goods. He earns a management fee. Now, this is between May and now. So you can see it's about a 5-month process and it's still going on. But what happened here is the company that started as a pure fleet supply chain logistics company moved up a couple of levels to provide a supply chain service. Their business became from a physical service to an IT service, which is scalable. And the industry is getting more value. And the people connected to the industry is saying, we want to work with you. And because the two business owners actually went out and built their personal brand and started communicating, the clients approached them. I want to do work with Yavuz. I know, I've heard what he's written, what he said. I want to talk to him. And we know this. People who know people work with people, or people buy from people, whichever way you want. So summing it up, business today, if you're going to continue business analytically, which is not wrong, but it's not going to get you the growth that you need, number one. And why I say this, 2 points. As people, we have become far more conscious on a different level than the consciousness Rishad spoke about. We've become conscious in our ability to filter out, pardon me for the French, bullshit and reality, right? We all know fake news and mainstream and this and that, but we have antennas that picks up real, personal, heart-oriented engagement. We gravitate. So if you take, just as an example, take any of your favorite social media channels that you tend to spend some time on, I would say 90 minutes to a couple of hours in your entire 16-hour day, you'll find that the community you work with or you interact most, and I'm saying you might have 500,000 followers or plus, but you'd be coming down to a handful of maybe 100, 150 people that you're 24/7 in touch with. You know exactly what is happening with them. What is that? That's your community. That's your tribe. That's your group that is like-minded, that reciprocates and appreciates you. You like being there. There's a good and bad in it both. I'm not going to get into that. But for business, that's where it's gone to. You have to create an environment where your employees like doing what they're doing. Because when you like doing what you're doing, you do more of it, number one. Number two, when you do more of it, you're actually advertising your employer brand. So you're bringing in the talent, you're attracting the talent, inbound marketing, as they would call it in my field. All right. On the customer side, the reality connects. They know that the conversation they're having is not with a bot. And I say this because I've worked with quite a few tech-based organizations in this past 8 months, including social listening and everything. And everybody's coming back to that one point, which is we need people in the organization to speak. And as a result, today, you have the Microsofts of the world and the Apples of the world, all the way down to solopreneurs and partnership businesses like ours, where the business owners are becoming the brand. They are representing it. So that's humanizing business. That's where the more you bring your humaneness, i.e. your heart, and you expose your heart, yeah, it's going to be broken. It's going to be stomped upon. Maybe even for the next 1 year, 6 out of 10 people are going to say, woo, woo, a lot of fluff. But hey, send them my way, because I turn fluff into data. I create insights. I write stories. And you can check it out on LinkedIn. That's my main channel. You'll get how to do, what to do, when to do. That's it. It's how business is going. And we will arrive at a point where, a lot of things like this, universal income, communal medical care, communal education, these will become, education, travel, hospitality, these are 3 industries I can see literally within 4 to 6 months is going to have a 180-degree shift. The way we've done education, I've got young kids in school, is going to fade away. Thank you, Nestle.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And you made wonderful opening, first of all. Thank you for that. And your suggestions are important for business leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals. How we make strict policies in business development and marketing, even if you told wonderful things, I would love to hear your thoughts, because we are feeling, all of us, like having a turbulence, and we are in a stormy weather, so that how we will overcome from this situation.
Joy,
one word. Sorry, Yavis. Yes, go ahead.
Joy, one of the greatest presentation I have ever seen, humanizing side, and how to implement this humanizing side inside the company, putting center your employee, and again, your employee reflects your customers, and from inside out and outside in, you described fantastic way. Thank you so much. You didn't give us space to ask anything.
No, please ask. No problem.
You draw pictures.
The program, sorry, I was to interrupt, but the program that I run with my clients, it is called Marketing Inside Out. Marketing is not an outside job. You'll see that on my profile. I've worked, as I said, 32 years in marketing. And the perception is always, even in B school, I've been taught how to communicate. How do you make customers aware? What we don't realize, having worked across industries and teams, what you're doing and what you're feeling internally is actually the reaction. Just imagine you wake up, and before you leave for work, in the days when we used to go out for work, your day doesn't start off the way it goes, For some reason or the other, you get cranky or crabby, and you leave and you rush and you do your commute, you get to work, and then you're running 15 minutes late behind for a meeting. Your mind is frazzled. Your behavior is tense, agitated. So even on your immediate colleague, you are going to snap. It's a normal human reaction unless we are mindful of controlling ourselves and saying, we have the choice. This is not bad. It's happened for a reason. Good. I'm 15 minutes late. Let me send a message. I'm late. Boom. Calm down, carry on. So the point here is that when Rishad said, go within to find yourself, right? In business, I'm asking business owners like ourselves and others running large companies, go within, because the strongest potential asset that you don't need to spend money because you've already spent money is sitting on your premises or sitting on your screens are your employees. There's two things that are required by leadership: appreciation, and the second thing is humility. Humility, let me just take a second here to explain. A leader is not supposed to know everything, because then you're not a leader, you're a boss. You're just bullying people to say, I'm superior to you, I know everything. So as a leader, if you say, I don't know, hey guys, Nestle, Lorraine, Yusuf, can you help me here? What do you think we should do? You know, that ownership that suddenly comes in, that, oh, wow, okay, so my CEO is asking this. That is what I do. I have a 5-step process. It's marketing inside out. And at least, alhamdulillah, so far, by the work I've done, because I cannot work more than 4 clients at a time. I work on 16 weeks on a process called build, operate, transfer. I've done for 7 clients over the last couple of years. And yeah, they've gone away, but they're all happy, hopefully. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm going to sign 2 of them back on just on the relationship. So if you focus your insights, every organization, what you're going to land up with is sustainable growth. Now, depending on the industry you're in, if you're in tech, you're going to have exponential, just like Zoom had, right? If you're in education and you get into it now, in 2 years, you're going to hit exponential growth. And I'm talking of growth from a financial measurement criteria. That's it.
I have a very quick question, if I can. I'm very impressed with your presentation and also your background. I mean, you are a great teacher for me. That's how I look at it, especially the work you have done in Islamic finance. I know maybe we're deviating from the question, but during this crisis time, do you think economically the main pillars that are coming, like in a halal economy where interest free and not taking advantage of just making money out of money type of attitude, should be relooked by capitalism? And should there be a way, a value, Islamic, insurtech, Islamic fintechs, and other digital, entrepreneurs that we are always working with? Do you think they will come up with an answer in this day and age?
That was a great question. And please pin this on my name, because I'm going to go out on a limb over here. Let me start with the back and then I'll come to the front, which is, will the entire halal and Islamic finance category find an answer? My answer to that right now, and it's a very cynical response, is no. The reason I say no is because the industry has spent 60 years, especially in Islamic finance. Halal, I personally have been involved in that industry for 12 years, and I have walked away, removed myself from that industry, being a Muslim and everything, and that's a separate story. But my answer is no for 2 reasons. For 60 years, we've not found a common ground, and we've not been able to give to the world something that is already available readily there. So if somebody's telling me that it cannot be coded, it cannot be provided, the effort is not going in. That's my perspective, personal perspective. 1. Why? Because IF, Islamic finance, started up as the perspective was, can we have a parallel system to remove the interest component so that global ummah or the Muslim community can use these products? I think that perspective itself was wrong. The perspective should have been a financial system that allows for equitable distribution of profits. Then you're talking different, and then you go to Basel, go wherever. So that's Islamic finance. On halal, I think if we decide to agree, we've got a common standard. So, we might be having 4 schools and mazhabs and stuff like that, but it's actually, in my personal opinion, and it's just a personal opinion, it's man-made. Now, can we do it? Yes, definitely we can, because there's a lot of work which has been done in fashion, a lot of work which has been done. I'm leaving food out, but if you look at fashion, pharma, and tech, a lot is there. The only thing is, if you're expecting this to get the kind of exposures that a Google gets or a Microsoft gets or something, it's not going to happen because the control is not there. So it's again up to the business to grow their community. And this is where my humanizing business comes in. So the supply chain that I just gave the example from is one of those. It's working with an Islamic finance background. It's working with total halal lines out of Malaysia, out of Amsterdam, in shipping. It's working with a particular shipping line that is bringing together liners for food, pharma, and other containing over there. It's happening. It's not that it's not happening, but these are, as I would say, a little pebble on the ocean. When you throw a pebble, you can't even see the ripple, but it's happening. Sure. So if more of this gets together, and I have to say this to echo Brother Rishad, I think y'all in Turkey are sitting to take the lead, because the geographical location of Istanbul, the geographical location of Turkey as the bridge between Asia and Europe, you're at the point where you can bring this entire ummah together, this entire service conduit together. You're the convergence point. So perhaps, inshallah, the prayer and the hope is there's a lot of development out of Turkey. Something will happen. And what I'm doing is actually not new. It's not novel. It's not innovative. I have taken stuff, part out of my own theological and spiritual learnings and part out of my professional experience to say, can business be done differently? And I'm seeing it works. That's it. That's simply it. So would we be able to fight against the biases and everything which is there? I don't think I'm qualified to answer that, Brother Yobuz, because bias is something that we all individually carry. We have to recognize first ourselves. So in terms of steps, it would be, as a business owner, as a leader, as a communal leader, as a parent, whatever, if we understand we can better ourselves and we start doing that, and then we flow that to the people we are working with, our family, you arrive, in 30 days, you'll arrive at an environment that is automatically becoming better than it was on Thursday, or it was better on Friday, on this Saturday. And when more of these little pods spring up, the numbers come in. So you will, by process of data, you will arrive at a threshold where after you've hit 500,000 or 2.5 million, somewhere after that, the system will change. But the moment we apply labels like socialism, capitalism, Islamic finance, a lot of biases come up with those labels.
Sure.
So equitable is the word that I like. And I think no matter irrespective of where we are geographically, if business works within its community to be equitable, to make sure that it's not 92% to the stake shareholders and 5% to the company and 3% to the employees kind of a thing, we would be better off. However, greed is a different area to tackle. I'm being very, very particular here. A company, it can put its profits into reserves, put its profit into CSR, to use jargon, and actually uplift communities. And we will not have, all simple thing, just commit to one of the 30 UN Sustainable Development Goals. Take one of them, children development, hunger eradication, just take it. And then, so a company like Pfizer, for example, who's going to make millions, or Johnson & Johnson out of the COVID vaccine, let's say you just earmark 5 or 4% of that profit from that vaccine to go to agricultural development for, high-tech agri products. And when you put that down, you bring a whole industry vertical, agri-tech, mechanized agriculture, better quality seeds, farming process. So suddenly there's an upliftment of the entire community from the farms all the way to the cities, to the people like us who are going to buy those organic products. Now you can bring in halal certification, organic certification, whatever you want in the process. But the value is the company that's doing that and says, Johnson says, if you take this vaccine, $10 goes to organic bread made by, Brother Yusuf in Istanbul. I, as a customer, I'm going to say, wow, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to take this vaccine because I'm doing my bit. I can't give it somewhere, but $10 is going to go for organic bread. Now let me go and look for that organic bread because it's better for my health. Overall, development happens. That's my long-winded explanation to the question you asked.
Thank you, Joe. You really gave me joy today. I can't thank you
Pleasure,
enough.
sir.
Thank you
Pleasure,
so much.
Sir. Pleasure. Pleasure.
Joy. Thank you for everything you do for us. And I really appreciate you. My grandma was saying us always, use good names to your children because they carry their names, energy. And you are the greatest example for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nestle. It's an honor. Thank you so much.
And now we have a little bit time limitations because after 8 o'clock, we are going to lockdown. Everybody must be at homes so that I want to talk with all of our guests. And there is Yusuf Saeb, Yusuf, and I can't say enough things to confess my gratitude to you. How many?
You're very kind.
How many comments we wrote with you under other posts? Maybe millions during the last years. I appreciate you because you are a great leader. You are a great caregiver and you are a great servant leader. Would you please tell us how you made yourself like today's great leader over LinkedIn, but also for humanity because you care everybody and you do your best to be with everybody.
Thank you so much, Nestle, for the very, very nice, very, very humbling introduction. I really, really appreciate it. It's a pleasure and an honor to obviously share this stage with some of my amazing friends from around the world. I would like to obviously thank Yavuz and yourself for this amazing initiative to actually bring together some of the really, really, I would say thought leaders from around the world to talk about different elements and different aspects to do with business and business leadership and continuity, so to speak, and processes, which I think hopefully will assist a lot of people. But I mean, to answer your question, Nestle, and this is I'm not being humble here in front of the camera, but the first thing that came to mind when you said that I'm regarded as a leader on LinkedIn, etc. I don't see myself as a leader. The first thing that comes to mind is Robert Frost's poem. Walking by the woods on a snowy evening. I've got miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep. So that is something which I always keep in mind. So the main thing which I always try and do is always keep in mind that, am I able to look at myself in the mirror every single night and basically be proud of the reflection staring back at me? And that is something which I always sort of focus on every single day. And that stems on my core beliefs and principles, which basically just stand on one thing and one thing alone, which is integrity. And, that is something which, people who have worked with me, closely, whether on a personal as well as on a professional level, would be able to attest to it, is that, I will walk away from deals, from mergers, from relationships, if there is no integrity involved. So I think, from my perspective, the reason as to why I'm able to sort of connect with people from all around the world, and the thing as to why people are able to sort of resonate with who I am as a person, is because I try to make sure, as I say all the time, that my real life and my real life is one and the same. Simple as that. So I try to focus on that as much as possible. I try to be the same person who people see me online, and when they meet me face to face, I think the biggest feedback, accolade that I have ever received from people who I've met for the first time after they have known me from LinkedIn is they have told me that you are exactly the same as you appear online in person. I think that is the best kind of feedback that one can receive. So thank you for the lovely, lovely introduction. It's an honor to be part of this family.
And you deserve more. You can be sure. And yes, you may not say you as a leader, but you are a leader because leaders don't need to say that I am leader. But if you support others, if you care others, and if you say something for betterment of themselves, it means you are already a natural leader. This is important.
Spot on.
And those leadership styles more over and over the world also.
Spot on. Spot on. And if I can just interject just a little bit, Nesty, and actually bring about something which a very close connection of all of us. Ahmad Imam from Australia, he just did this, 50 most impactful leaders on LinkedIn, of which you are a part of as well, Nestle. And that is the main thing. That is what business leaders or any other sort of department leaders need to focus on. They need to literally take away the word influence out of their dictionary. Forget trying to influence people around you. Try to provide value and make an impact. That is what will set you apart. Being impactful instead of trying to be influential. And if you're impactful, as you've rightly said, I mean, if you're impactful, if you're delivering value to whatever you're doing, through whatever you're doing, to people who you're meeting and conversing with, people will resonate with who you are as a person. So, and that is what makes all the difference in today's world. Yeah.
And you made how many sessions of Create the Edge?
I don't even know. I can't even remember. Like it is honestly, I mean, in my opinion, I mean, this is something which is very, very close to my heart because obviously, I met Brother Joy from Malaysia, and we started doing Create the Edge, which is basically bringing real life conversations from business leaders from around the world in a vlog style sort of offering, so to speak, which was never done on LinkedIn prior to that. And it was something which a lot of people really, really hopefully got a lot of value of. And we enjoy doing it. We've had 2 seasons, as you would know. First season was in 2019. Second season was in 2020. So hopefully next year, I mean, Joy and I will be back together with season 3 of Create the Edge. And it's basically just getting the real life stories out there and how, one can create the edge. I mean, Create the Edge, the name of the show, the name of our venture, because Joy and I also do a lot of SME advisory through the Create the Edge umbrella, so to speak. So that is basically an acronym. It's not just, a name which we thought would actually just be great to get out there into the business community. It's an acronym which stands for, each and every word. Create the Edge stands for something specific in the business world, in the employee engagement space, etc. So, I mean, if you go onto my LinkedIn profile, it's got a breakdown of what Create the Edge stands for as an acronym as well. So, it's been an honor and a pleasure. That is definitely, I light up whenever I talk about Create the Edge. And it's because not just because of obviously the amazing guests that we have had on the show from around the world. I mean, we have spoken to over 100 thought leaders from around the world in both our seasons. And it's also because, the brotherhood that I share with the gentleman who spoke prior, Joy Abdullah. I mean, I see him as my elder brother. I mean, we speak on very, very often. Nowadays, not that much because, we are both a little bit busy with a few of our personal ventures as well. But we both know that, if there is something we need to ask each other, we are just a phone call away. We're just a message away. And that's the kind of relationships that people need to start building. Relationships which are built on mutual value provision, not just having some kind of an ulterior motive attached to it. And that's what I focus on in my work through in what I do with sales, business development, and marketing, and in my management consulting sphere. So,
I have a question. If we have
sure, absolutely, go ahead.
I've heard your amazing presentation and also Mr. Joy Abdullah. And you both talk about authenticity, which and consistency, but I feel, I don't know what Madonna will say about it, but it seems that as women in business and in other social engagement, it seems that the expectation, it's difficult to find authenticity because when you look at a really exciting, the girl who is always enthusiastic, or it's always, we don't fit in easily. I don't know what.
Misread.
So what would be authenticity for a woman in business?
That is a great question, and you know, even though I'm not a woman, of course, I will try and answer it from a woman's perspective, because I do sort of work very closely on other collaborative fronts with some amazing thought leaders who are women. So the main thing which I have noticed, number one, is that I mean, as everyone knows across the LinkedIn framework, that I absolutely believe in the fact that women are the true architects of society. So let's just leave that aside. They are very, very important in any sphere, so to speak. But apart from that, what I have noticed, and this is something which senior thought leaders, senior business leaders who are women, and I have discussed, is like, in general, if a woman is doing really, really well in their specific business sphere, they will unfortunately have other women trying to bring them down. And this is something which a lot of people from different industries, from different cultures, from different companies, different countries have told me, who are women. So that is something which in my opinion is something which needs to be addressed. It's not about, you know, the tall poppy syndrome, as we like to say in Australia, where basically anyone who's trying to do well, do better, etc., you know, you pull them down because you don't want them to succeed where you might have, you know, not made it yourself. But just apart from that, from the authenticity, you know, specter, there are so many people out there, and especially women, you know, who are scared to come out, especially on social media, and show who they are as a person, because you will have, and you know, this is something which I apologize, you know, on behalf of my gender. There are tons of men out there who are perverts, absolute perverts, who will do the wrong thing, who will sort of take a smile that a woman may actually you know, provide on a very professional basis, and you know, basically sort of put that to be something of a more personal nature, and that is something which a lot of women are scared about, and you know, they do not want unnecessary advances from men. Or from other people who they have no interest apart from just being a business acquaintance, for example. And this is something which happens all the time. But, you know, the main thing, the best way to go about it is just keep being yourself, and just basically, you know, have an invisible wall around you where basically you are able to get out the naysayers, get out the people, you know, who you don't want, you know, within your trusted circle, so to speak. And you're not, you know, it takes time. You know, it takes time to develop a thick skin, so to speak. But you can only develop a thick skin once you actually try doing it. So it's so important to just keep being you. You just you know, work with certain mentors and coaches, because that definitely assists. That definitely helps a lot of people. You know, get past their inner, you know, self-beliefs which are holding them back sometimes. So yeah, authenticity is obviously very, very important, regardless of gender. So, but I do understand that obviously, you know, in social media, women definitely, you know, it's both ways. Women have it better as well as worse, in my opinion. So, you know, because, you know, that's just my opinion where, you know, with women in social media, so to speak. So, but, you know, to answer your question, Lorraine, you just have to keep being authentic. And I'd love to actually hear what Madonna has to say with regards to this later on.
Well, okay, I'm not a businesswoman. That's why I cannot answer well this question. But as you said, sir, by being yourself, by being authentic, you can prove yourself. As many businesswomen did and proved themselves now in the domain and this field. So when you are real, you can do it. And as you said, we do have some positive sides also. Being a woman, sometimes you get noticed quickly. You have to take this as an advantage. So be yourself and you can make it. That's it.
Very well said. Thank you for chiming in and helping me out there, Madonna. I appreciate it.
Thanks to you.
And I didn't introduce Lorraine to our friends. I met with Lorraine and Mr. Yavuz Altun over LinkedIn. Mr. Yavuz found me, then we met, and he introduced his wonderful book about exponential growth. So we are now in this situation. We are together with Mr. Yavuz's efforts, in fact. And Mr. Yavuz introduced me with Lorraine. Lorraine has a wonderful past in HR. She is doing her best for job seekers and also HR wing in both parts, so that we are together with her and with all of you. And thank you for everything you do for us, first of all. And I want to ask one more question to
Sure.
Sure. What is your suggestion for our millennials? And also you are a supporter of job seekers. We are in many projects together with you. Our friends tag us, ask our helps, even if we can't help them to find a physical job. We support them with our comments. So that, what is your suggestion to them to be courageous, to be hopeful? We know many of them are so desperate nowadays.
Absolutely, and I don't blame them, honestly. And this is something which a lot of people actually know about me. I've been on LinkedIn for just over 2 years now. And the reason I actually started on LinkedIn was because I was at that point when I started LinkedIn I was advised by a few friends to actually start on LinkedIn because it was a great place to meet recruiters, because at that moment in my personal life I was looking at my next career opportunity, so to speak. So I have done all the mistakes, so to speak, which I see job seekers do at this present moment myself. Like just connecting directly with recruiters, sending through right in the beginning my resume, asking for a job right in the beginning without actually building that relationship, because that is something which at that moment I understand the desperation that people get into, which clouds judgment. Now, this is something which is very, very important, not just from a job seeker's perspective, but also from a business owner's perspective. Desperation clouds judgment, period. So the moment when you feel that you're going to do something which is, just outside your comfort zone and you're not very certain and you are second guessing yourself to an extent, you need to just take a moment of pause and basically just see as to, what are the repercussions that may come about with regards to your own personal branding, with regards to how you are regarded by your target audience, by the person who you're speaking to, etc. So, my advice to job seekers at this present moment was pretty similar to what Brother Rashad said, right at the beginning. And he mentioned along these lines, this is the perfect time where a lot of people who are in the midst of, who have lost their jobs, number one, or who are looking at a different career opportunity, for them to sort of seek out what else they can do to basically add a few more arrows to their quiver of knowledge. So, just try and do certain amounts of self-development exercises, personal development, look at, additional stuff that you can actually do. So let's say, for example, if you are in the sales field, for example, right, in the sales and business development field and marketing field, which I am part of, see what else you can sort of add to it. Like, would you be better off doing a Six Sigma course in project management, to add that as an additional part to your CV to weigh it a little bit? Or, could you do a course on SEO and SEM optimization, for example? Or, do you want to do something, just an additional course with regards to like big data and AI? Or, if you have only been, in the sales and business development field in one particular industry, so to speak, like, for example, construction or finance, do some kind of an additional course, for example, which makes you, an attractive element to recruiters in another industry, for example, like IT. So, I mean, what are the little things that you can do with regards to, at this present moment, when the world is in a moment of perpetual pause, in this time of COVID clarity, which I like to say, what are the little things that you can do to actually sort of bolster your own, efforts, bolster your own, stuff that you have, your own accolades, add to the little things that you can do, so that you're regarded as more valuable to recruiters moving forward. And of course, just focus on building that relationship. Focus on basically figuring out the companies that you'd like to work for. That's number one. The country that you'd ideally like to work for. At this present moment, when I see job seekers, I live in Singapore. When I see job seekers from outside Singapore sort of asking me or sending me their resume, that's the biggest mistake you could be doing. There is no point you trying to sort of apply to a job in another country, because chances are the borders are closed. Even if you are the best fit, you may not be, regarded for that position. So you're hitting yourself in the foot, quite literally. So focus on your country where you're at. There are opportunities at every corner. You just have to look hard enough. Simple as that. Try and do something which is a little bit, maybe a couple of levels lower than what you are doing. If you have lost your job, there is always time for you to be able to build up. There is always, let's say, for example, if you are earning, I'm just giving a hypothetical example, if you're earning $5,000 on a monthly basis, and you're not being able to get any jobs, but you are seeing certain jobs which are maybe $3,500 or $4,000, go for it. At least that's at least some money coming in for you to be able to stabilize your present situation at home, your personal situation, because finances can heavily impact your mental sanity, so to speak. So, and that is absolutely essential at this present moment, to keep your mental, to keep yourself sane against whatever is happening at this moment. So take those positions, take those opportunities. You never know what may come of it once things get back to normal. So, there are no jobs at this present moment, which is beneath you. The moment you take that out of your brain and you look at every opportunity and weigh it with the risk reward functionality, so to speak, that's what job seekers should look at. Build relationships with people in companies that you'd ideally like to work for. Interact with their posts if they are on LinkedIn. Go out, ask to catch up for a cup of coffee, face to face, after they've known you for maybe a couple of weeks, after you've interacted with them on their posts or with their shares, if they do articles, etc. Be supportive, and then meet with them, just so that when you go out and talk to them, they will recognize you, and they will already have that warm feeling of already knowing you as a person, rather than just a number or an applicant, so to speak. Even today, and this is something which is so true, and I'm sure that we've had discussions about it in previous sessions, and we will be having discussions on this later on as well. It's most jobs, especially in today's market, are filled even before they're actually sort of advertised. So it's all about the referral networks. It's all about people knowing people resonating with people getting to understand the value that you provide yourself. So as a job seeker, try to be more active on social media, perhaps on LinkedIn, to basically show your target audience with regards to what you specialize in. You know, what are the things that you bring to the table? What makes you different? What is your strategic differentiator, so to speak? Why should a recruiter look at you and pick you from hundreds, maybe thousands of other people who applied for the same job? So, you know, what are the things that you know, get you to stick out and basically sort of, you know, stand out from your competition? That is very, very important. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, it was wonderful. Thank you. I can talk with all of you. We can talk together till the morning, but you know our situation. We will do our best to give our messages together with your caring words, in fact. And thank you, Joseph Saib. If
My
you
pleasure.
have, maybe we can have questions from Noreen and Mr. Yavuz, but we have Christy and Madonna also.
Yes, we have so less time, Neslihan, because we have lockdown. If we stay more, we couldn't be able to go to our house.
I know.
We can ask next time. Thank you very much, Joseph. It was great presentation. We learned a lot from you. Today's our speakers, they have chosen their subject maybe more than many universities. It was great pleasure for us listening to them.
Thank you very much, Yavuz, and appreciate the opportunity to both yourself and Nestle to share the stage with some truly amazing people. Looking forward to hearing the other speakers.
Next time, we would like to invite all of you to Istanbul. I hope if Corona crisis, it will be end, we will be way to Istanbul.
It would be an honor. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. And Christy Report, warm welcome. And I appreciate you. It's so nice to meet you. We met with you over LinkedIn. And Lorraine will ask you questions. I am leaving you with Lorraine.
I think like Chrissy is a strong leader of her community and over the globe. She has written many bestsellers, and her next book is a true masterpiece in its own right, and I recommend it to everyone. And today and tomorrow, she wanted to address a special a subject that is close to her heart at the moment. It's self-reliance, unlock your untapped potential in crisis, especially in this moment of COVID. I'll let you speak, Chrissy. Thank you very much to be here.
Oh, so I am talking today. Okay, give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna get it together real fast. Here we go. Can you hear me?
It is nice to see you, Christy. You are our friend from Harvard Business School. We were together for leadership development. Thank you very much for your participation.
Okay. I thought I was on tomorrow. Okay, we're gonna get it together. See how fast when you're at home, how the digital platform can work very, very fast. I'm always ready. So I want to say, you know, Joseph, you were awesome. Joy, phenomenal. And then Rashad was amazing. Yeah, he was so good. So, okay, so let's talk self-reliance. I do want to share just a little bit about where my career. I spent 16 and a half years in the Coast Guard, and I burned out. I burned out because I was doing too much. I burned out because I wasn't taking care of myself. I'm a high achiever. I like to win, to serve. And so I think a lot of challenges that leaders have, leaders were on fire long before the coronavirus showed up, long before we got into self-isolation, long before 2020 came around. A lot of leaders were already burning up and burning out. And so Why do we burn up and burn out? One, doing too much. Two, we're serving and we never give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves. And as I was listening to the gentleman earlier, leaders are on fire. So it's how do you manage the crisis at work while you have the compound crisis at home? Never before did leaders have to worry about their parents getting sick or their children getting sick or not coming into the office. And as Joy talked about earlier, being at home with their children, being at home with their spouses, and now having to stop and take responsibility for where they are right now, which is hard because it's easy for us to run. It's easier to run and never turn around and look back and say, I don't have the glossy life that I thought I have. So I burned out because doing too much, serving too much, mentoring 90 people. And so there's a long story with that. And so I ended up moving in with my brother for 3.5 years because once I stopped, ladies and gentlemen, I exploded in 1,000 pieces. Like I had nothing left to give. And for the first year I slept and I was like, Chrissy, that was so dumb. And as we're talking about, Rashad talked about consciousness and he was talking about Eckhart Tolle. And I was like, ooh, he's speaking my language, and I started sitting up in my seat because we are in a place right now where leaders, if we choose, are shifting into it. Okay. Are shifting. Can y'all hear me or no?
Yes, we are hearing.
Okay, right. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Leaders are shifting into a new era of consciousness. But the first thing is to get clear on ourselves and who we want to be now. Because a lot of times we're living a lie. And when you're at home, stuck in the house with your family and your children, you can't lie anymore. So I always talked about a lot of leaders are going to burn out from home more than they would outside of home because you now have to look at and take responsibility for what you are not doing because high achievers are always seeking the next best thing. We're never satisfied with the award that we got, that we worked 5 years for and 80 hours a week because we're on to the next thing. We're never satisfied with getting the kids in the private school, which was a big deal. But now that is normal because we're now thinking about which Ivy League college we're going to get them into. And Harvard, we're going to get them into Harvard or Stanford. And so we never, y'all see I'm getting loud, I get passionate. We never stop long enough to smell the roses. And the problem that people are having now, especially I think one of my clients in Singapore, actually in Hong Kong, I think they're in the 3rd or the 4th wave, is that staying in the house now has brought some peace because they can now confess to their inner chaos, but it's also created dissension in so many other people because they're still unwilling to admit where they are right now. And you can't change what you're unwilling to admit to. So I want to talk about self-reliance because when I was in my brother's house, broke for 3.5 years because I burned out and I could not get up. I was psychologically unemployable. Has anybody, Joy, were you there? I couldn't work because I never stopped and I just was trained that ran into a brick wall. And how do you get up? As Joseph was talking about, some people don't want to take a lower paying job. How can you clearly see who you are and where you are? And so a lot of people ask, Christy, what was your turning point? Because I thought I would die in my brother's house. It was self-isolation for 3.5 years. So as people were talking about their first 2 months, I'm like, I've been there already. When you let the ugliness of who life has made you, I've been there already. Losing all your money and your greatest fear coming true and selling my house and my car, I've been there already. And so now the other side of it, I think that a part of my mission is to tell people it's going to be okay. You can lose your house and you can be broken. You can lose your car and you can move in with family members and you won't die there unless you choose to die there. You won't die of shame. I clearly thought I died 5 times. I kept waking up in the morning. It was just like, oh, you can't die in this much pain. I thought that I would be arrested driving and I only had $1. I thought it was illegal, and your mind starts playing tricks on you when you lose all your money. I had $1 in my pocket and I wanted to drive to see my parents, and I thought it was illegal. And I had to say, Christy, wait, what do you need to drive? Well, you need a valid driver's license, enough gas in the car, and insurance. And I was in my brother's house and I said, well, I have those things. Well, get in the car. So a huge turning point was when I started to learn self-reliance. And I want to read a little bit of, okay, the sun just went behind a huge cloud, but I think y'all can still see me. But I want to read a passage from one of my favorite books. It's called The Majesty of Calmness by William George Jordan. And it was published in the late 1800s. And he talked about self-reliance without self-confidence is as useless as a cooking recipe with food. Self-confidence sees the possibilities of the individual. Self-reliance realizes them. So this is key. The man who is self-reliant says ever, no one can realize my possibilities for me but me. No one can make me good or evil but myself. And so as all of these articles are coming out and they're telling business leaders that they're going to lose, and women are especially going to lose, according to McKinsey and Bloomberg. And how can people tell you what your destiny is going to be? You are the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. Yeah. So he said, man to be great must be self-reliant. Though he may not be so in all things, he must be self-reliant in the one in which he would be great. This is the time for you to get clear on who you are. What's the one gift that you have to bring to humanity? What's the one thing? Because brilliant people can do 10 things very, very well, right? The problem with being a great leader is you can do 10 things. So when I got out, I'm selling coffee, personality tests, and I'm selling everything, and I'm failing at everything. And the man above said, it's just not time for you to come back out because you're still a little crazy. And but I failed at a lot. And 4 years later, when I told my friends that I was gonna start training leaders and I was gonna be a coach, they were like, really, Christy, that's what you do. I mentored 90 leaders in my previous career. I did the leadership training. That's who you are. And so sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, your greatness is tattooed on your forehead. Purpose is tattooed on your forehead. Everybody can see it, but you can't see it. And so I want you to consider, what is the one thing that everybody calls you for? What is something that people ask you for, and what can you monetize in this moment? I have a friend who doesn't have a job now, but he's a photographer. He took my pictures in the Bahamas. They are amazing. And I was like, dude, you can be a photographer. People have money. They'll invest in a photographer. And he gave me all the reasons why he couldn't do it, but he has that gift in this moment. So what gifts do you have in you that are monetizable in this moment? The things that you give away for free. He took my pictures for free. Amazing. I would have paid him. I would have paid a photographer $3,000 to take those pictures. So one more thing. He said, this self-reliance is not self-sufficiency of conceit. It is daring to stand alone, be an oak, not a vine. Be ready to give support, but do not crave it. Do not be dependent on it. Be an oak. You have to learn how to stand on your own. And leaders have learned how to stand on our own, but sometimes we can be bitter and resentful about it. But when you're down for the count, and when you're laid out and life has worn you out, instead of looking for other people to tell that you're great because you're in a cone of silence when you don't have a job, and I don't think that we know how much, I kind of want to say it, but we're adults here. I don't think that leaders know how much people kiss our ASS until we don't get it anymore. I don't think that we realize how much we love power until we don't have it anymore. And it is intoxicating, and it is amazing, and it is, you can drown in it. But when you don't have it, you starve for it. When you don't have your title anymore, you feel like you're a nobody and you have nothing to give to the world. And when you walk in the room and nobody can just sense your greatness and smell your expensive perfume or cologne and just stand up in your very presence, well, you don't have that anymore. The sorrow, been there, done that. The sorrow and the mind trickery and the mourning that happens to your great facade, right? The person that you pretended to be to make everybody like you, the person that you pretended to be to impress other people, the person that you pretended to be so people wouldn't try to tear you down is gone. And now you're left with yourself. And I know that Rashad and Joy talked about this. It's who are you now without that title? Who are you without people introducing you as whatever your title is? So when people say, Christy, you know, who are you? What do you do? I tell them I'm a general hustler and a unicorn rider, right? You have to Google me to find out how great I am. But I used to tell you in your face and want you to give me something that I need. I'm going to sniff your respect and your admiration for me because I needed to get high. And we don't have that anymore. And so at this point, if you're down, and I just want to bring that out and acknowledge it because we all know it. We're all high achievers. We're all leaders. We're all powerful people. We know what it's like to have power. And when you don't have it anymore, it creates so much pain for your suffering soul, but you're not alone. So at this point, you have to become an oak and not a vine. You have to be able to pump yourself up and be your own hype man and not reach out for other people to give it to you anymore. He said, be ready to give support, but do not crave it. Do not be dependent on it. And so many women are waiting for somebody to give them permission to slow down. Women are waiting for people to give them permission to be great. And if Joseph talked about earlier, you have to be great. Don't wait for somebody to give that to you. And the last part is, he says, the man who is self-reliant does not live in the shadow of someone else's greatness. He thinks for himself, depends on himself, and acts for himself. And to develop it, we're always seeking constantly to surpass others. We must seek to surpass ourselves. So how can you become a greater leader in this time? How can you become a greater being in this time? Because it's up to you. And then when you stand on your own, now you can give from the overflow. And you can really tell people, like I tell people, it's gonna be okay. You will not die in the darkness. You won't die because you don't have a title. You won't die if you run out of money, only if you give up. But man to be great must be self-reliant in the one thing in which he will be great. So whatever you're giving away for free, that is your gift to bring to the world. That is your gift to bring to business. And when you find that, people will pay you for it. That's all I have.
Thanks so much.
Wonderful.
It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, we will talk tomorrow with Christy again. We appreciate her. And we have Madonna today. And I kindly want to talk with her also because she is living in an area that they are experiencing some painful moments more than many of us. She is living in Lebanon, and I appreciate all of the people around the world, but some areas of the world are like my own sisters, own brothers are living over there, like the people in Lebanon, because we have soul connections with many people over there, like Madonna. And dearest Madonna, you are a teacher, you are a good worker. Yes. When I saw your first post in our group, we are in a group of Goodwill ambassadors.
Yes.
I remember that I told myself that, wow, this is wonderful post. So we met over LinkedIn, and you are one of the greatest souls I met over LinkedIn. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I want to say something about you, Nestle. Just one thing. You're the type of person who gives and never asks for anything in return. We do appreciate you a lot. I'm very proud to be your friend.
Thank you. Same. And likewise for all of you. We are a huge family over LinkedIn, also offline friends, sisters, brothers like you, and all of our guests here with us and during the sessions also. And tell us how is going on everything over Lebanon and your story, and tell us your messages, please.
Okay. First, I want to tell you that 2020 is the worst year in the history of Lebanon. And that is due to many reasons. A huge economic crisis, total collapse of the currency. Our currency lost its value. A heightened social and political instability. And also the pandemic, this horrible pandemic, the loss and death and suffering caused by this pandemic, and the ways it has divorced us from the people we love and the habits and the routines we rely on. But the worst of the worst was this year Beirut blast, this huge explosion that did not only kill around 200 people and injured more than 6,000 people, and left hundreds of thousands without homes, homeless, without shelter, and caused billions of dollars of damage. It left deep wounds in our hearts, deep wounds that cannot be healed. It left the trauma and grief in the eyes of our children. Yet, with all its magnitude, it did not prevail over the Lebanese powerful will to survive. Yes, we survived. Will we forget? I don't think so. Such thing cannot be forgotten. But we have to keep on walking. Hopefully, the phoenix will rise again.
Yeah, so good. And you are a wonderful teacher. I learned many things from you.
Thank you.
How you chose the occupation, and also what is your career choice? What brought you to this with this career choice?
Well, I decided to be a teacher to show that not only the students with good grades can have a brilliant future, every student can have a brilliant future. I decided to be a teacher to show that a failing a grade doesn't mean a failing student. Every student has his weaknesses and his strengths. The teacher has to highlight on the strengths that each student has. The teacher here should help him have confidence in himself. I decided to be a teacher to show that the classroom should be a comfortable place for all types of students. I decided to be a teacher to show that the classroom is also for the reserved ones, the bullied ones, the shy ones. You know, Nestle, in every profession, you can make a difference in people's lives. You are making right now a difference in people's lives. But in being a teacher, you can touch this difference. You can feel it. You can influence the behavior of your students. You can shape their future. Really, teaching is a mission. It's not only a profession. It is a sacred mission.
Yes. I know. And you're a goodwill worker, and you are a heart-centered person.
That's a nice thing.
We have time limitations, I know, but I want to receive your message as a heart-centered person. for love, because I know you share those type of posts every time to spread hope and love.
Thank you.
A message from over there, and how to be courageous and passionate from a enjoyed heart from over there. Tell us.
Well, in order to lead well others, you have to lead well yourself. It all starts from within, from inside. And to lead well yourself, you have to start by accepting your weaknesses, embracing them instead of ignoring them and hiding them. You have to control your thoughts, because by controlling your thoughts, sometimes your thoughts take you to places where you don't want to go. You have by improving a little bit, at least a little bit every day, by being easy on yourself, because life nowadays isn't easy at all on us. You have to be easy on ourselves and love yourself, because when you love yourself, you can easily love others, starting by your family, loving your family, being supportive, loving your family in a firm way. Like they say in French, une main de fer dans un gant de velours, an iron hand in a velvet glove. When you help your children, you are there for them, but the right way, the firm way. You enlighten their future with education. You show them the right path and not obliging them to take it. Let them choose. When you do this, you become a great leader. And the leader is the one who loves what he's doing and do it with integrity, do it with honesty, do it while being clean from the inside. You don't need great knowledge or superpower to be a great leader. You just need to love what you do and do it with integrity. That's how to become a great leader.
Yes. And thank you, dearest Madonna, for everything.
Thanks to you.
We have time limitation, but
I know.
Would you please tell us one sentence for every guest? Dear Joseph Saeb, Madonna and Joy, Lorraine and Mr. Yavuz. Then let's close the session.
You want me to say a sentence to everyone?
Yes, the last word.
I want to thank all of you, because you taught us a lot today. You were great leaders and great teachers indeed. Thank you.
My gratitude. And
thank you.
You are welcome. And Joseph Saeb.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's been such an amazing last 2+ hours at this present moment, where I've learned so much. Got into obviously, meet a few people who I have not interacted with personally directly before, like Madonna, Lorraine, Yavuz, Christy as well. So thank you to Yavuz and yourself, Nestle, for doing this. Because it's not just sort of, providing insights to other people, but it's also helping us grow our circle of friends, of acquaintances, who do a great job. Obviously, Brother Rashad, he's brilliant. He's not yet here. He's not here anymore at this present moment. But his session was great. I mean, the insights that he brought with regards to his Zen coaching was awesome. Nothing to say apart from awesome stuff about Brother Joy. I've had the honor to obviously work with him for the last couple of years now. He's absolutely fantastic, and I've had the honor to also meet with him, even though we only live 600 kilometers apart, him in Malaysia and me in Singapore. And it was interesting. We actually met right before the COVID situation hit, because I remember on my way back from Malaysia into Singapore, they were having the temperature tests to get back into Singapore at that stage. So the borders are not yet closed. So it was a pleasure to meet him at the beginning of this year. Christy, loved what you said with regards to how important it is for leaders to ensure that they actually look within to make sure that they don't burn out, because this is this is the situation which a lot of people are unfortunately facing in today's world. And Madonna, thank you so much. I've got immense respect for teachers. I'm the only child of a single mom who was a teacher. And so, you know, in my opinion, teachers are the people who mold the future leaders of tomorrow. So you're doing an awesome job. So kudos to you for being a teacher, for actually leading from the front. And I love what he said with regards to you got into education to make sure that every student has the understanding that they have greatness within them, which they can sort of capture moving forward, not just the ones who have brilliant grades. Lorraine, thank you so much for your amazing questions. Really, really appreciate it. And would love to obviously get to know you better on different forums as well. It's a pleasure to be connected with you. Yavuz Salim, appreciated your little amazing sort of inputs and insights as well during Brother Joy and Brother Rishad's conversations prior. And Yavuz, I'll turn, thank you so much for doing this. It's an absolute pleasure. You've obviously brought together all of us from around the world. And you know, last but not the least, Nestle, you know, couldn't, you know, this is just basically reflecting and mirroring what Madonna said when she started her conversation. You do so much for so many people around you. And, you know, thank you so much. You know, we have been connected for a couple of years now, and you do a lot, and which is appreciated, which may not be conveyed, which may not be articulated most of the time, but please remember that you are appreciated for all you do. Blessings to you and to your family.
My honor, my great honor, my endless gratitude. Thank you. And Joy and Christy.
I'll take 30 seconds because Yusuf has already said everything that I could possibly say. So my thanks to, it's a pleasure to meet Madonna, Yavuz Salim, Yavuz Altun, Christy, Lorraine, and Brother Rishad and I, and Yusuf, we've spoken a lot. I'm going to just leave all of us with one thought. And this is the thought that I've come to realize over the past 3-4 years, which is the alphabet U in the word you, Y-O-U, is within you. Remember that you is the human being, the human opposite you. So the you in you is human. Just remember that in every interaction that we have as a teacher, i.e. Madonna, as a coach, Rishad and Christy, Lorraine as career woman, Nestle as the goodwill ambassador coming from Heart Center, Yavuz Atun from being the strategist, and Yavuz Salim running the media business. We are human beings at the end of the day. If we just keep our heart, our heart is the you that reaches out to you, the human being. The you connects. That's all. Have a great evening. Thank you so much. It's been an utter pleasure to be here. An honor, absolutely.
Yeah, honor for us. And Christy, it's so nice to meet you. We will meet again. We can have a few messages before closing.
Definitely. Nestle, thanks so much for hosting. And I was texting Lorraine. I was like, oh, I don't think I was supposed to go today. So thank y'all for indulging me in the preview for my message tomorrow. I get a lot of emails. Apparently I'm confused. But so Nestle, thank you. Thank you for, you know, being a phenomenal host. Joy, you were just amazing. I took notes, actually. Yes. As I was talking, because I wanted to weave some of the things that we said. And so, you know, Lorraine and Yavuz, I think that you've put together and curated the perfect group of people to talk about not only about business, because as we know, business is business, money is money, but we're in a time now where we need to become more heart-centered and think about each other, but also take time to take care of ourselves. So, so Joy, you were amazing. And we've also communicated in the inbox. Joseph, absolutely amazing. One of the things that Madonna said when she talked about children and their grades, my grades were terrible in school.
And you're shining.
Yeah, because I'm an entertainer. And so, and I didn't pay attention because there are so many kids to entertain in class. Why would I do my work? And so I was labeled a troublemaker. And I did have one teacher that saw my gift and helped me bring that out as opposed to condemning me for it. So I appreciate the insight that you talked about at teachers, because apparently I'm a super nerd and I had no idea. Because it's teachers are the ones who are, I think, the most underappreciated people, but now parents are appreciating them because they're actually at home with their kids. So I appreciate all the insight that you shared. And Yavuz, Salim, thanks for asking the smart questions to bring out the brilliance in Rashad and Joy. And Yavuz Altan and Lorraine, you know, thank you for just being amazing people. And I appreciate y'all.
Yes. We appreciate all of you. Thank you. Mr. Yavuz.
We started with Bashar with heart, and we ended with Madonna with heart. We are trying to touch anyone's heart if it is possible. Of course, it is not easy. It is so difficult, but just what we have in our hand, we are trying to share with the world. Neslihan, you are really great hero. With great heart, because it needs a lot of effort and concentration and focus. You gave all of your heart this last month. We decided to do this submit, and in a very short amount of time, you prepared everything, and Lorraine also helped. Thank you so much for all our speakers. It is a great honor for us. We have lockdown. I want to move to you, Neslihan.
Yes. And Lorraine.
Just 3 words. I'm humbled by all the speakers, and it's really humbling to listen to you. And our hearts goes to Lebanon, and we think about you more than you think. And if we can help your school, please let us know. In our tiny possibilities, we will do anything we can.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for to be a brilliant servant leader. Thank you. In this
Thank you.
time.
Thanks to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are closing our session. We are in gratitude for all of us. You didn't leave us till the end of the session. Thank you for being with us. Good evening, good night, and
good evening. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.